Hi, this is Ash Pearson, and you're conforming to ABORT TV.
My name's Sam Landa with ABORT TV, and I'm here with Ash Pearson from 3 Inches of Blood and Revocation.
How you doing?
3 Inches of Blood is playing its very last shows ever at the Commodore November 7th and 8th. How does it feel to hear the words last 3 Inches of Blood show?
It feels like it's the end of an era, I guess, to me. That band was a big part of my life for a really solid 8 years. I mean, it was big whirlwind of a band to play with, and I was super happy to have, done it in the first place.
Is Cam going to DJ an after party?
Yeah, I mean, he's great a great DJ. He plays awesome music. Yeah, Cam DJs parties sometimes around town, and he's the perfect guy to be doing that.
When you guys announced the retirement of the band, what was the general reaction from like the label management? Was it a surprise? Was it a long time coming?
We haven't had a manager for like a while. We've pretty much just been self-managing, especially for the time that we were kind of in hibernation leading up to this announcement or whatever. But it's yeah, and I haven't even actually really even heard what the label thinks about any of this. I have no idea. I think we had an option for one more album on Century Media, and now they're just not going to get that album. So that's what I think they probably think about the situation.
What would you say you're going to miss the most about 3 Inches of Blood?
Probably just like the shows we played and the times in the van together. You really get to know people pretty well.
Those band times.
In the van. Yeah, and spend 24 hours a day with someone. You gotta, make certain concessions, and you really kind of. I'll miss the give and take and just like hanging out. Quite simply, just like hanging out and partying together and stuff like that, and those kinds of things.
Say you have grandkids or grandnieces or nephews or something. If you were going to tell them one story about your time in 3 Inches of Blood, PG or not, what would it be? Like if you had like the one defining moment of that band where you're like, that was such a good time, specifically, what would it be?
I know one that it happened between Justin and I. We were playing Bulgaria one time with Overkill and Exodus, and the town was called Varna, and it took place in an even smaller town in Varna called Kavarna, and it was right along the coast of the Black Sea, and the mayor put on this metal festival, and he wanted us and Exodus and Overkill to play. Overkill headlined, I believe. But when we got there, the buildings, like, skyscrapers or whatever, they had these giant mural paintings of rock gods, like Ronnie James Dio, for example, or, people of that kind of,
awesome.
Ilk. Justin and I went to the mayor's restaurant afterwards, so just like right on the shore of the Black Sea, and I'd never been there before, and there were like stray dogs running around, and the staff up in the like actual restaurant itself, they were watching porno on the TV.
Naturally.
yeah. And the girls and the guys, they were all just standing there, kind of like, it was on the screen, but they were acting so nonchalant about it, like it was just something they did all the time, and Justin and I were the only ones there, along with maybe some of the Exodus guys. I think Gary Holt was there too. But
watching the porn or
yeah, we were all just eating together. But it was just so surreal. It was so weird. It was like, we were running on such little sleep, and it was so late at night, and I'd just never been anywhere like that in my life before that, or even now, and it was really cool. So I mean, that's something cool that happened between just like me and Justin, and then just like some of the big moments would be like playing Wacken, in Germany. That's probably the biggest show we've ever played, at least that I've ever played. There was like 90,000 in attendance that year. I figure we played to about half of them at least. We did some shows with Slipknot, about 8 of them, in stadiums, and those were really cool. Playing Australia. I mean, there's all sorts of just milestones you know, Japan, Loud Park, and Japan with Ozzy and Motorhead. It was really sick.
Okay. Well, let's say 3 Inches of Blood. No, it's an era in your life, and it's coming to a close. The next era, so was with Revocation. So, are there any opportunities that have come up with Revocation that maybe you didn't get in 3 Inches of Blood, or anything that you did in 3 Inches that you're hoping to recreate in Revocation?
It's kind of fresh, I guess, being with this band. I've been in it for, you know, less than a year, but I've done about, I don't know, 50 or 60 shows with them so far, and whereas I did hundreds and hundreds with 3 Inches. So, you know, I mean, already we toured with Cannibal Corpse just a few months ago, which was really cool. I mean, I'd never been out with that band before. I mean, those guys have been to China and stuff like that. I've never been there before, you know. So who's to say that kind of thing might not come?
So how about like the genre difference? Because obviously it's two quite different styles of drumming.
Yeah.
Are you having fun with the new, you know, this other style? Is it something you've already been playing on your own for a while, or any new challenges that have come forward?
Yeah, definitely new challenges. It's similar, but it's different in a lot of ways too. You know, it's metal, but it's a you know, the tempos are faster and stuff, and there's some beats that might not have really been needed or used in 3 Inches music that I get to do and Revocation. So yeah, it's a definitely a stamina based band in terms of the drumming, and then also there's a lot of really cool, I don't know, just like variations on the sound. You know, there's a little bit of jazz lines in there. There's a little bit of some odd grooving, and there's definitely some rock and roll elements, but then there's like some progressive death metal elements and stuff like that. So there's definitely a lot more little spaces to explore in that band, which I really enjoy. I enjoyed playing their back catalog, and then some of the stuff that we've been writing has also been, you know, really challenging, and you know, I'm definitely trying to take a step back and you know, figure out what is best for this band's music, you know, and that's a really cool challenge. I always like being challenged to do things that at my current ability, you know, find it hard to do.
How did you end up hooking up with those guys initially?
I first met them a couple of years ago when 3 Inches and Revocation toured with Death Angel together, and yeah, so that's where our friendship first began.
And when they were looking for a drummer, they came to you.
Yeah, I mean, they had already toured with a couple other guys, kind of gotten a feel for, you know, for who can make the music sound like what, and you know, how they gelled and everything. So they called me back for another set of shows, and then when I got there, they kind of offered me the gig, which was really cool.
It's nice that this time they came to you, and I know that you've auditioned for bands in the past. Maybe you auditioned for Dillinger. Did you audition for 3 Inches as well?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, essentially, yeah.
Yeah. So for those, I know you recently did a Drumeo interview, or a Drumeo
Drumeo
video.
lesson. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that you've talked about auditioning, you know, getting the gig, auditioning for bands.
Yeah.
For those who haven't seen that video, what would you say is your number one tip for someone who is auditioning for a band as a drummer, and especially an established band? What would you say is like your number one tip that they should keep in mind?
The one thing I would say, besides putting yourself out there and practicing your craft, which are the two kind of things that have to happen in order for you to, you know, have any sort of skill set in the first place that you want to audition for, and then people knowing that you're alive and out there. Those are the two prerequisites almost for auditioning for a band, I would think. And I'd say the most important thing is probably listening, and really listening, and you know, bringing your attention and focus onto the music that it is that you're trying to go and play. And to me, the best way to do that, to access that space, is on an emotional level. You know, so I already got kind of the skills and the abilities, but now that's one of the things that I listen to when I listen to songs that I'm trying to go play, is like, emotionally, how does this affect me? You know, the beats and the content are kind of something that I can all figure out, but, you know, why was this beat chosen, and what is it trying to accomplish in reference to the riff and stuff like that? And you know, should I be playing at the same level the whole time, or should I be playing at this level for this part and then dip it down for this part, in terms of like volume and dynamics and stuff like that? So there's all sorts of you know, little artistic choices to make, but to make them in the first place, I think listening is the most important thing when it comes to, you know, approaching an audition.
So Revocation is coming to Vancouver in September. So if you haven't got your tickets yet, make sure you get that.
Yeah, the Red Room.
At the Red Room, great venue, nice and intimate. Is there anything that we haven't covered so far that you want to plug? Drumeo, upcoming clinics, anything like that?
Yeah, I'm a regular teacher on drumeo.com, and then I do drum clinics too from time to time in Vancouver and really anywhere. I have a few bands in town, Ultra Earth with Russ Klein and Toby Peter. That's a really great band. I love playing in. Ritual Dictates with Justin. And then, yeah, Revocation, and then the last couple 3 Inches gigs. And then, yeah, I give lessons around town and stuff, too, from time to time, whenever I am in town. And I'd say those are the main things, really.
Well, I think that is it for now.
Cool.
Thank you so much, Ash, for taking the time to chat with us. And thank you for tuning in.